This episode is brought to you by Resistance Candles, high-quality wax candles that keep the flame of resistance alive. Question 126 of the Westminster Larger Catechism asks, what is the general scope of the fifth commandment? It answers, the general scope of the fifth commandment is the performance of those duties which we mutually owe in our several relations as inferiors, superiors, or equals. In our current series here on Bright Hearth, on being human, we're talking about 4 aspects of life where a man or a woman can grow and improve and become more fruitful as a result. And those 4 areas are the physical, the spiritual, the social, and the vocational. Last week, as we continued to work through that third category, the social, we took up the issue of friendship. But as you heard in that episode, one of the things you have to know about your social life is that not everyone is your friend. Not everyone is going to be your friend. In fact, there are lots of important relationships that aren't friendship at all, but something else. There will be acquaintances in your life, people to whom you have some duties, but not the duties of friends. There are going to be members of your church that you don't necessarily connect with deeply, but to whom you owe love and honor and service, maybe even by virtue of specific membership vows that you took as a member of your local church. Or social hierarchy. Lots of relationships in your life won't be the kind of buddy-buddy relationship of a peer or a friend. You have to relate, for example, to many superiors in your life, to use the old word. Bosses, pastors, fathers, mothers, people in positions of authority over you to some extent, people to whom you owe honor and even obedience in some areas. Likewise, you will often be the superior in many relationships in your life. You might be the father or mother or boss or pastor, etc. What does social grace have to do with these relationships? How do you navigate social hierarchy with excellence? It's important to think about how to skillfully navigate these relationships because they likely make up a larger percentage of the people in your life than any other category. In our day, we've often reduced all these relationships to the level of some kind of friendship, but this is really a mistake. As just one example, if you treat as a mere friend a person you ought to treat as a superior, like your boss at work, you're likely to step on a rake, socially speaking. So join us in this episode of Bright Hearth as we talk about the people in your life that aren't your friends, but something else, and how to make the most of these relationships, even as we seek to fight against the egalitarian homogenizing of everything that's common to our age. Well, welcome back to Bright Hearth, everybody. How you doing, babe?
Great.
Doing good?
Good.
Can you tell the listeners what you were just accusing me of moments ago? No. Why don't we start there?
Okay, no. I wasn't going to bring
I wrote it down. Rubbing your hives on me.
Oh,
and
Brian.
I just want the listener to know that
Brian.
I have been accused in this Bright Hearth recording studio known as our bedroom.
We have had hand, foot, and mouth in our house for probably a month now.
Yeah.
And it is a bad strain of it.
Yeah.
And I think you and I are both experiencing it at the moment.
Lexi thinks she has it now. And there I was, innocently sitting there, ready to record Bright Hearth with my beautiful wife. And she said, you probably gave this to me by rubbing your hives all over me. So what did you mean by that?
I can't believe you're actually bringing this up.
I've been breaking out in like ridiculous hives, and maybe it could be a viral response.
Yeah.
But I'm being accused, guys.
It's crazy. It has been a weird year of sickness so far. 2026. Thank you very much.
To be fair, for all we know, I got it from you.
Okay.
Really, who has the better hygiene in this house, us or our kids? It probably came from them.
Yep.
Well, guys, welcome back to Bright Hearth here. We hope that you've been enjoying this series on being human and that it's been helpful to you here. We're in episode 4 of the social aspect. So we did 2 before this. This is the third in that third category of social life. We've talked about social graces, friendships. Now we're talking about these relationships that aren't friendships. And then in the next and final episode on the social, we'll be talking about teaching social grace to your kids. And we hope it's been helpful. If it has helped you, if you like what we do here at Bright Hearth, then consider becoming a monthly patron, jumping on board and helping us continue to make this show possible. One thing I did want to plug is our conference that's coming up.
Oh, it is.
here in Ogden, Utah. It's coming up in June. So it's
months.
I know it's like February as this episode comes out, but the best ticket prices are going to be right now for the conference. You can go to newchristendompress.com/2026 to get details, all the information, grab tickets there. And the conference this year is going to be called The War for Normal. And we're talking about how, the enemies of God and our craven and wicked culture, it wants to call us the weirdos. Like we're the crazy, extremist, weird radicals. But really, what Satan is constantly trying to do and persuade humans to join in this project is to take this glorious world that God made in all of its normality, all of the norms that he's worked into it, like how normal life is supposed to operate in God's world, and smash that up and then build their kind of satanic utopia, quote unquote, from the pieces. And so we're going to be focusing on just being normal, and why what we're really doing in building the New Christendom is we're trying to build a world that is normed by God, that is a normal and gloriously normal world. I'll be putting on a concert there as well of some my original music and psalm settings. We're going to have a lot. It's different than any other year a little bit. We're doing the whole first day, that Thursday, is going to be lots of different like events, and we're going to do the New Christendom games that are like feats of strength. We're going to do a golf scramble. We're going to do a bunch of stuff the first day. And then Friday, Saturday, all day, we'll have the conference, and then we'd love to have everybody stay and join us for church on Sunday, which will be at the conference center that Sunday as well. And this year we added a family pass. So tickets are kind of complicated when everybody who comes to your conference has like between 2 and 13 kids. So instead of trying to like sell kid tickets or whatever, we just said, let's make it as affordable as possible. And so we just made a family pass that if you're coming with your household, a married couple and your children that live with you, then one ticket covers all of you. And there's a way of telling us how many kids are coming so that we know what to expect. But that's by far the most affordable ticket for a whole family that we've ever made. It's actually terrifying. We might end up upside down on this conference, to be honest, because of my insistence that we do that. So
yeah, it'll be good.
It should be fun. We hope that you guys can make it and hang out. It's just a really good, encouraging time to see and meet other Christians who are into the same things that you are and on the same page and fighting the good fight together.
Resistance Candles is a family-owned candle company that wants to inspire the spirit of 1776. They make candles with scents that are full of depth and warmth, and they're made with clean ingredients, which means no soy and no GMOs. Resistance Candles offer experiences that harken back to the time of the American Revolution, like their scent titled Liberty or Death, which has notes of cinnamon and spices, deep amber, and weathered wood. Go to resistancecandles.com, and if you buy one or more candle, you get a free candle on us. Just use code HEARTH in all caps. Why is it that most soaps and cleaning products, ironically, don't contain clean ingredients? Indigo Sundries Soap Company is helping families stay clean and healthy by starting with the most important step in cleanliness, soap. Their cold-pressed soap bars, including clay bars and tallow bars, are made from all natural ingredients that don't have any harmful chemicals. And they smell great. Visit indigosundriessoap.com and order today. And hey, subscribe for regular shipments and get 10% off every time. When you have a busy house, the immediate demands of activities, events, and never-ending to-do lists can overshadow critical long-term decisions. Life insurance, financial planning, education savings, and retirement are continually backburnered. Joe Garrissey and his team from Backwards Planning Financial will help you maximize financial tools, management, and strategies so you can focus on your home and have confidence for your financial future. Visit backwardspanningfinancial.com. That is backwardspanningfinancial.com, or call 615-767-2555 to speak with Joe to develop a plan for the future. A good morning sets the tone for the rest of the day. You read your Bible, review your to-do list, and drink a great cup of coffee. So why would you want bad-tasting, mass-produced coffee? Lux Coffee is a Christian-owned coffee roaster that offers intentionally sourced, single-origin coffee beans. They believe that convenience is the death of quality. That's why they spend their time roasting small batches of beans to make sure that every cup of coffee tastes delicious. Start your day with coffee that is crafted for the new Christendom. You can go to luxcoffee.co and use code NCP15, that's all caps, NCP15, for 15% off your handcrafted coffee. And of course, that link is in the description below.
So that out of the way, let's get into the episode. Any other?
I'm feeling rusty.
Feeling rusty?
In over a month
It's been a month
since we've recorded.
We had Christmas and everything around these parts and then some sicknesses. So we're getting back in the saddle, though.
Mm-hmm.
We're ready.
We'll see about it.
We're ready to go. Well, let's talk first. We're going to talk about social hierarchy a lot in this episode. Those inferior and superior relationships. We'll talk about the Westminster Larger Catechism. But first, let's start in a little bit of a different place and talk about this category in life that is like, it's not a friend. It's not an inferior superior relationship. It's like an acquaintance or another church member maybe that you haven't or don't connect with on like that deep friendship level. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That category. What are some of the things that we need to know in navigating those relationships? Like, why is it important to understand that not everyone is going to be your friend, and that really, like, you can't even have all that many true friends at the end of the day?
So you're actually fulfilling the duties required of you to certain people and not like doing that in a disordered way.
Yeah. What do you mean?
I think the first time I heard this concept was probably on the What Have You podcast, where they were talking about how Christians do owe everybody lawful love.
Yeah.
But what that lawful love looks like is very different according to the relationship. But also that means you do have some friends that you do that are required certain duties that other people just aren't required of you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So yeah, just knowing like you do need to be friendly towards everybody and lawfully kind and loving towards them, but it is just a different type of intimacy with friends. It's just not the same all across the board. And it helps. I think it puts boundaries, like good boundaries in place for both people of like, you don't need to feel bad. Because for me, it's often I just feel bad if I can't be everybody's friend. But that's good for me to have that boundary. And it's also good for other people because then it helps them actually not spend time cultivating relationships that just really won't ever be able to satisfy those specific needs and spend the time in the right places doing that.
Yeah. Like I think that's really good. Lawfully ordered love. What do you owe? People can think that's cold and transactional when you start talking about what you owe people, but this is really what it means to properly define love.
Yeah.
To not just let love exist in some ethereal, theoretical place where it's like, I vaguely am supposed to love everyone on the entire planet.
No.
Like right now, I'm supposed to have the same level of love for people in Mogadishu as people in my living room. And that's like just not possible.
Yeah. And I don't think often everyone is faced with this same temptation. I think it's a unique place when you are in ministry. And I've had to have good friends of mine point this out, like, Lexy, do you see what you're doing? Like, you're trying to be everybody's friend and it's just not going to work. But it is a reality that really does exist out there. And especially among women, because we can want to be sympathetic and sinfully empathetic towards every single person. And it's just not possible. It just really isn't.
One of the things that we're doing when we try to be everything to everyone is fundamentally we're trying to be God.
Yes.
Because God in his being is the only limitless, endless source of all that is good. When you come to God and you ask God to bless you, you are asking God to give to you. But you're coming to the only being in all of existence for whom he does not become less to some extent by giving. When God gives his time, think about it, like when God hears your prayer, God can be hearing your prayer and the prayers of a billion other Christians at the same time. He's not limited by that. However, I am. When I go and listen to somebody, I am definitionally not listening to anybody else. I can't even listen to two people at the same time. which my kids do not understand at the dinner table or in many other contexts. We sometimes it's so simple, but sometimes we fail to realize this. Like when a father, I've used this illustration in a sermon. When I give my son a gift for Christmas, let's say that I get him an RC plane because he really likes RC planes. Ari does. Okay, I spend $40 or $100 or $85 on it. I have $85 less. Mm-hmm. And that's part of the glory of that gift, is that I took from what I had and I gave to him. But that really does mean that the opportunity cost of that dollar, I cannot spend that dollar on something else. I cannot spend that minute on something else. I cannot spend that attention, or human beings are limited. And the thing to remember about it is that was God's idea and that was God's intention. Mm-hmm. So you are going to run into this sometimes in navigating social life, your limitedness, where there's 5 invitations or 3 things going on, and you have to say no to 2 of them. Or you have to have like a defined, not that every single person in your life, you need to have like a chart on Excel spreadsheets where it's like friend, acquaintance, dead to me.
No.
But you are limited. And so you will have to wrestle with that. So what do you do, Lexy, when, I think this can happen with men and women, but I've seen it in women a lot, like hurt feelings or mismatched expectations can develop between people. Maybe someone is like, I consider them my dearest friend, and the other person's like, actually, I have 2 dearest friends, and you're not one of them. Okay,
awkward.
And it is, even saying that out loud is like, that kind of sucks. Mm-hmm. But sometimes it's true. So what do we do with that? How do we navigate that? Like, how does a woman navigate that?
With humility and an understanding that everybody is limited.
Yeah. Being kind.
Yeah. Yes. Both parties in a situation like that would probably have to be humble in the sense of like, oh, this wasn't what I thought it was, but also the other person not wanting to crush somebody else. I don't even necessarily know if you need to say that out loud. Like,
probably not.
No, a wise person wouldn't say that.
Yeah.
I think a wise person, there have been times where you've helped me think about in terms of navigating this, like, well, maybe invite that type of person to this kind of event, but not this sort of event, or just helping to like appropriately place that relationship, I guess, within the context of my social life. Does that make sense?
Yeah, exactly. Like being okay with no. I think there's humility involved on every end. You're right. Like you have this, okay, I keep inviting this person I want to be friends with to stuff, and they keep saying no to me. I don't have time. I'm sorry with my schedule. I can't do that. I'm really kind of like booked solid right now. And you can be really disappointed by that because like, I like this, and that's a good thing. You like them. You want to, you think that they're interesting, and you think you'd be good friends with them. And you seem to be hitting a wall. Now there's a couple types of responses people can have. One of them is the response that I think a lot of people struggle with in church, which is to just immediately write off the whole church as not being very friendly and hospitable. Yeah. Instead of pausing for a moment and thinking, maybe they're not lying and just trying to put me off. Maybe they really do have a full plate. Mm-hmm. Maybe my desires are not actually their highest thing right now. Mm-hmm. And so I'm going to graciously accept. And I think a good husband would coach his wife if she said like, oh, Susie, I keep inviting her and she's too good for me. He would go, you know what? Maybe Susie has 4 kids and she's, we just got here. She's really busy. She's got a lot of established friendships. But you know what? I think that Cindy over there doesn't seem to have as many friends. Mm-hmm. Maybe you should invite her over.
Yeah.
A good husband, I think, would help redirect his wife in this. Mm-hmm. Sometimes there is such thing as a church with a hospitality problem or people who are cold. That's 100% true. But we need to be careful that in love, we're treating others as we would want to be treated.
Yeah.
And so that's what I mean. Like when you say humility, that's what comes to mind. It's you're humbly not considering yourself the most important person in the universe. Mm-hmm. And what's funny about that is that humble people over time tend to attract deep and good friendships.
Friends. Yes, it's true.
But people who demand and act entitled,
yes,
that's a deeply unattractive trait, socially, just generally.
Yeah. if I was coaching my child, and I have done this, if I was coaching my child through something like that, I'd probably say like, okay, they don't want to hang out, go do something fun, because people doing fun things attract other friends to come do fun things with them.
Yes.
So I think that's got to be a big thing, that people who might tend towards this pity party in terms of friendship, it's kind of like, just go do something.
Yep.
And invite maybe not that one person, maybe 10 people then.
Yeah.
And I'm sure somebody will show up.
And you'll connect with some of them.
Yeah. And I don't know. I think that's kind of been always my approach when it comes to building like women's ministry. When I think of like friendships, I think of a lot of my friends haven't necessarily come from just hanging out.
Yeah.
Shooting the breeze. It's from ministering together, showing up at book groups, showing up at the showers, planning a lot of my friends that I've had for over a decade, like since before we were married, it's literally the same people I've been doing women's ministry with for years and years. A lot of that was me casting a very large net for years of like, hey, this is what I'm learning and this is what I'm interested in. Who else wants to join me?
Anybody else interested?
Anyone else? And it's, there's people that come and go, and there's been different seasons where I spend more time with certain people than others, but it's been very organic, I guess, in that sense of like, we're just learning to love one another while we're loving what the Lord has put in the world together. Even last night of all of us, the women's book group, of like, we're just delighting in these really interesting truths through these books together and having good conversation. And it's okay. There's like a whole group of mixed friends there, but it's okay.
Yeah, that's right. I think as well, moving into a slightly different direction with the same thing. So it's good to recognize you're not God and you have limits on both sides of that equation. When you are kind of rebuffed or not getting what you want, and when you're the person who feels like, I really wish I could say yes to all this, but I can't. I have to have acquaintances. Not everyone can be my best friend, inner circle.
Yeah.
Okay, on the other side, it is very important. Part of social grace is understanding our responsibilities to the community and making sure that we're carving out a part of our life that's not just for our friends or those people that are easiest to get along with or that we're naturally attracted to, because we have duties to the whole community as a church.
Yeah.
And so this is where something like practicing hospitality with an intention towards absolutely having a great time with friends and growing deeper in those great and important relationships, but also casting that net of serving others and making sure that we're really making space in our life to interface with and to pour into and to connect with other people in the church. And sometimes even like those people that are more difficult, or that you think, well, you know what, the invitations probably aren't pouring in for that family. They're very new to the church, or they've got this challenge and this difficulty. Mm-hmm. And so part of love there is, I'm not just doing this for me, I want to serve others. Mm-hmm. And so having this hospitality awareness and intentionality in your life, I think, and it's not just dinner invitations, it could be lots of things.
Yeah.
Hey, come play at the park with the kids this Tuesday morning, or whatever it is in your specific context. That can be really important as well. And I just realized that everybody we invite over to our house in the next 3 months is going to think that we're saying that they're really hard to get along with. And that's not true. Just so you know, if we invite you over to our house. How do you think, like, how are we thinking about hospitality in that way? How are we trying to like wrestle with our limitedness, but also keeping space for this kind of thing in our family calendar? Is there anything there that you think like, here's some helpful? Because the homemaker a lot of times has a lot of this on her plate. The husband might say, hey, can we invite them over? Mm-hmm. And then she's like, okay, how do I execute that? What's the plan?
I feel like we've had different nights of the week for different categories, I guess. People that, like, we've had like parish nights that are one night where maybe that does meet some of that broader category.
Yeah.
And then we've also had just like regular extended family, and extended families meaning friends over.
Yeah.
Some of that kind of falls into like holidays, and we have enough birthdays in our household that somebody's always having a birthday. So that might be birthday parties for us, where because we are so busy with like the ministry hospitality, we genuinely don't get to hang out with our friends very much. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of that is like, okay, then we're going to play up the dinner time for Thanksgiving or for so-and-so's birthday and invite all of those friends over in addition to family, because we do both have extended family here. And so, which can be, I mean, I think I think for us, we've had to kind of practice contentment with that of like,
Yeah.
it's okay. We don't get to hang out with our friends quite as much, but that's okay. Cause I know in my heart, I'm like, I know though, when I need to go to a friend for counsel, it's not like they are there. I don't feel like adrift because of that, because I am very aware of the realities of my life.
Yeah.
And I think you've helped me a lot, because I would say yes to every single thing all of the time. And you are constantly drawing me back, and that's good, because I have to remember, if it's going to be a yes, it needs to be a good yes, not like a scattered abroad. So all of my yeses are really lame yeses, if that makes sense. So I feel like we just have those categories and know in our head, like sometimes maybe a brand new family might be invited over for a holiday. We have had that, but more than likely it's going to be our closest friends that it really just hasn't worked out. They're not out of town. They don't have family. Well, guess what? We're adopting you. You are our family. Come hang out with us. So I don't know, just having both of those areas in their rightful place allows you to meet both of those needs, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. And recognizing your limitations. Sometimes what happens in communities like a church is that about 5% of the people are doing all of the hospitality, and then they're crushed.
Yes.
And they're doing like 3 times a week. That's really hard to sustain.
Yeah.
Family worship, their own family rhythms and traditions. And, okay, if 80% of the church is engaged, in hospitality, then it makes it achievable for everybody.
Yes.
That's one of the big keys. We tell everybody coming into our church as new members that act like it's all up to you. Act like it's all up to you, and then it'll be fine. If you act like it's all up to everybody else, it won't be fine. You will get invited to things. You will probably make friends still, because people are great at the church, but act like it's all up to you.
Yeah. And so I just thought of this too, something that we did employ years ago, where we were kind of first meeting some of these quandaries, I guess. Like, okay, so if we as a ministry family constantly have new people in our home, about 50% or less are actually good at having conversations. So add on a lot of babies on top of that. And we just found that it was actually really awkward. A lot of times years ago, hospitality was very awkward. It was hard to keep conversations going. I was constantly having to leave the room for little babies. You were left carrying the load of this hard conversation. And you kind of were like, what should we do? What should we do? What should we do? And one of the other pastors was experiencing a very similar thing. And you guys, I just thought it was a great idea. You were like, hey, why don't we actually split the hospitality load where there's more than one family at a time? We do it together and we invite somebody new into that. And that was really helpful, because it helped scratch the itch of like friendship for us, while at the same time getting to meet new people. So I do think that's one way that you can kind of have both of those categories going at once.
Yeah.
And just even if it's not like a friend that you consistently hang out with, it could just be 2 new families. And so it helps even those 2 new families rely not just on you for friendship and meeting their social needs, but there's also this other person you're introducing into the equation as well.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's a great hack for keeping the gears going, but also welcoming new people in. Okay, we could talk about that all, I think, forever, because there's so many things that come to mind when you start thinking about like hospitality and all the challenges. Hopefully that gets your wheels spinning a little bit more. And we do Q&A episodes. So if you have specific questions about that aspect of social life, use the send us a text button on the podcast description. And I think we just did 2 episodes actually pretty recently of Q&A. We do them like every 5 or 6 episodes. So send us your questions there. What I want to talk about in the second half of this episode are these relationships in what we're calling social hierarchy. And it is the case that like every relationship falls in the social hierarchy, in the sense that a lot of friendships are primarily peers, like equals is how the Westminster Larger Catechism puts it. But let's talk about relationships into inferiors and superiors. When we say that, we're just using the old words that I think are good words that we need to bring back, not about inferior in the sense of like something can be of inferior quality and like really bad, and you wouldn't want to eat inferior meats or like drive an inferior quality car or something like that. But you could talk about inferiors and superiors of rank. And that's what's going on in the Westminster Larger Catechism. A general is a superior of a captain, who is a superior of a private, even though all of them are men made in the image of God and have value as such. There is a rank issue where the captain owes obedience to the general and the private owes obedience to the captain and the general. And the Westminster Larger Catechism rightly identifies that with these kinds of relationships that God has built into the world, we have particular duties that are different from our relationships with peers. Now, I think that, and I want to get your take on this, Lexy, see if you agree. I think one of the big issues socially is that we have homogenized everything, and we have such a casual culture that we try to treat every relationship as if it is the relationship of total peers and total equals. Mm-hmm. And so you run into all sorts of problems with that. Like, for example, church members that don't, with respect to the office and leadership of the church, treat a pastor as a superior. Well, why would they listen to that pastor and obey him when he's counseling them or teaching them? If he's just my peer, I can take it or leave it. Mm-hmm. And there are aspects where outside of his office, of course, he doesn't have a special authority. Like on the golf course, he couldn't tell you, you have to take my swing tips. But when he's preaching the word of God or counseling, or he really is doing something authoritative where you are inferior in terms of rank in that relationship.
Yeah. If
you treat your boss like he's just your buddy and his instructions are suggestions, you're either going to be a bad employee or you're going to be a former employee. So there are aspects of it of navigating. Do you see that, this kind of like casual culture where is in your world? Do you see that? How do you think about that?
Yes, for sure. And I think too, I hadn't thought about the way you're saying it. It's probably because you're a pastor, but if all of our social categories are to be pointing us towards Christ in some way, but we've kind of dumbed all of them down to one peer group, it doesn't actually allow those relationships to exist for the purpose that they are there for. Again, maturity in Christ, because who do we know actually who to listen to? Is it our peer who really isn't as wise as our pastor is on this topic? Yeah. So we're adding way too much weight to their word when really we should be adding more weight to this elder's word instead. So yeah, I can see how I never thought about it like that, but that's definitely a huge problem for sure.
Yeah, even just, man, like sitcoms, they try to make it seem as if the ideal parent-child relationship are equals, that they're friends. And like the breakthrough for the mom and dad is when they just learn to understand their child and recognize their inner beauty. And that the child was actually, you know what? The child should be in charge, by the end. And they'll help you, dumb parent, to understand the world. To keep it focused, I really think you can't surpass these 4 questions in the Westminster Larger Catechism. So I'd like to just read each one of them and discuss how it relates to this concept. Mm-hmm. And the questions are basically in both directions asking, what is the honor that the inferior owes to the superior in a relationship of social hierarchy, so the one of lower rank to higher rank? What are the sins of inferiors, lower rank, to their superiors? And then what are required of superiors to their inferiors? And what are the sins common of superiors to their inferiors? Mm-hmm. So this is question 127 starting. It's talking about what is the honor that inferiors owe to their superiors? And the Westminster Larger Catechism answers, the honor which inferiors owe to their superiors is all due reverence in heart, word, and behavior, prayer and thanksgiving for them, imitation of their virtues and graces, willing obedience to their lawful commands and counsels, due submission to their corrections, fidelity to, defense, and maintenance of their persons and authority, according to their several ranks and the nature of their places, bearing with their infirmities and covering them in love, so they may be in honor to them and to their government. And the proof text, that there's many, many proof texts. For example, in Malachi 1:6, a son honoreth his father and a servant his master. if then I be a father, where is mine honor? And if I be a master, where is my fear? Saith the Lord of hosts to you priests that despise my name. So God's saying, priests, you're an inferior to me. And if a son owes honor to his father and a priest to his, and a servant to his master, I'm a father, I'm a master, where's my honor? So it's a failure of honor that is owed from an inferior to a superior. And what's interesting is that passage in Malachi, God is using as example human relationships where this dynamic exists, contra our egalitarian age. So thinking through that list, a lot of these are just, this is like if we studied this, you say, I want to know how to navigate relationships of social hierarchy in my life, both as an inferior and a superior, because all of us are pretty much all of us are, other than young children, are mostly, they have relationships like this where they're both seats. Sometimes you're an inferior, sometimes a superior. This is a hack. Like, this is a huge help.
Yeah.
I think of like some of these honors that are due, things like defense and maintenance of their persons and authority. How often have you in your life been in a break room, and men, I think this is common, or in a work situation, and someone's trashing the boss? And did you say, wait a second, is that honoring to our boss? And maybe your boss sucks, or maybe there's a problem, or maybe, whatever, but is that the way to solve it? Fussing about him in the break room? Is that really obeying the fifth commandment as it relates to this relationship? Probably not. Ladies probably have similar situations where a woman's trashing her husband.
I mean, that's definitely, we don't experience that commonly, but that is a very real temptation for somebody to do. I've actually been just utterly shocked over the years how many people come to complain about you to me. I'm like, really?
What do you think is
going to happen? Do you remember who I am?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And it just takes courage on someone's part to just stop the conversation for a second, be like, wait a second, these are not the standards that we hold here.
Yes.
It kind of elevates everything when you can impose this structure in a good and helpful way. It elevates all of life, I feel like.
Mm-hmm. So much of the richness of social life and the beauty of customs and traditions come from properly relating to various offices and social hierarchies.
Yeah.
For example, in our church, it's common for people to call a pastor last name, not to say, hey, Eric. Pastor Khan, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
It's a small thing, and it's not something that the pastors are like walking around demanding.
No.
But it is a custom in our culture that is common. And what it does is it offers honor to the pastor in his office as a superior. Okay, when you talk to your dad. Now, you can have a relationship with your father that is intimate and, familiar and things like that. But it's still good and right to honor your father in reverencing him in how you speak about him, speaking well of your father in public, speaking honorably to your father, giving him, especially as children, obeying their lawful commands and counsels.
Wives, you know your husband would fight for your family without hesitation. But every knight needs armor, and in today's world, that means ballistic protection made for the modern defender. Armored Republic makes real armor for real men, law-abiding citizens, fathers, husbands, protectors. Visit armoredrepublic.com. That's armoredrepublic.com, or text JOIN, all caps JOIN, to 88027 and help your husband stand strong. Hey there, friends. Let me tell you about Gray Toad Tallow. They're a family-owned small business passionate about creating skincare products that nourish your skin with pure, wholesome ingredients. For centuries, tallow has been valued for its moisturizing and healing properties, and Gray Toad Tallow is dedicated to sharing these benefits with your family. They strive to keep their products affordable and accessible, aiming to be a blessing to you and your family. Visit graytoadtallow.com to learn more and try a balm sample pack. And don't forget to use code BRIGHT15, that's all caps, BRIGHT15, for 15% off your order. Thanks for supporting this great small business. Did Did you know that a woman's health during pregnancy can directly impact the health of her grandchildren? Generational health starts long before birth. That's why Rebecca at Live Oak Integrative Health takes a functional medicine approach, combining nurse-driven coaching, personalized testing, and practical data-based care to help women restore balance in hormones, gut health, fertility, and weight. Plus, she can do all of that remotely via telemedicine. Visit liveoakintegrativehealth.com/hearth to book your discovery call today. Listeners of the show will receive a special rate. This cold and flu season, fortify your defenses naturally with the Kings Ridge elderberry syrup and elderberry products. They grow the freshest elderberries at their Indiana farm, cold press them into the tastiest syrup around, and they're packed with antioxidants and vitamins to boost your immune system. Use code Bright Hearth, that's all caps Bright Hearth, for 10% off your first order at tkrfarm.com. That's tkrfarm.com. The Kings Ridge elderberry syrup. Taste the difference, help push back the curse.
I love one of my favorite aspects of this is that it's not like rose-colored glasses in this, because superiors mess up all the time.
Yeah.
And they're weak. Every superior in life, other than Christ, other than God himself, human superiors will have infirmities and weaknesses. So it says also one of the honors that is due is to bear with their infirmities and cover them in love, so that they may be an honor to them, so that the inferior may be an honor to them in their government.
Yeah, it's actually helpful when somebody that you know is relationally inferior to you doesn't expect godhood of you. That actually makes you want to be more friendly towards them, because you're not automatically like knowing that you're losing in their book. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's right. And this is how social grace and social skill works. When you do it well, it draws the best out of others.
Yes.
And when everyone's doing it well, it elevates everything.
Yes.
So when you're thinking about like in relationships of social hierarchy, whether it's your boss or a pastor or a father or some other relationship where you are lesser in rank, even on a team of pastors, like there's the junior guy that just started 6 months ago, and then there's the pastor that's been pastoring for 40 years. And there's a kind of rank that comes with that experience and honor that comes with it. And so if you think about, how am I relating? Am I covering their infirmities? Am I speaking well of them publicly? Am I bringing any concerns I have to them appropriately and privately? Am I covering offenses in grace where I know that they're weak? Like, think about how you speak about your mother and father to others. And when you do this well, when people go, oh, I never worry that they're like trashing me privately to other people. You want to serve them well as a superior in that relationship.
Yeah.
Or like, how would you say, because there's even in a marriage, a wife to her husband, she owes him submission. He is her head. The traditional way of understanding these would have been to say, and it's good and right to say, that's a relationship of an inferior and a superior with respect to rank in the household. How can a wife do this well in that relationship?
Deferring to him in a lot of ways, especially ways that she knows matter to him, or even, I think, even just paying attention so she doesn't have to go ask him. Like, clearly he would prefer it be done this way and not that way. Because sometimes if you're in a place where, as a wife, you don't want to be in a place necessarily where your husband has to ask you. So you should be, like, one of your priorities should be paying enough attention that you know when he prefers something this way and not that way. Yeah. Not that you can't ever ask, but I almost just said axe.
So you can axe him. Your middle name is Janelle.
Okay, let's just move on.
Lexi's ethnic side is coming out.
Anyway,
okay. Keep going. Ask your question.
So I think, to me, that's just something that as I'm getting older, I'm like, I don't want it. It's a goal of mine that you don't have to ask me, that I'm just paying enough attention.
And you do great at this.
So I think that's one thing. I think if your husband has to tell you to pipe down about something, he shouldn't have to ask you a second time. If you say, I'm not going to bring this up again, and I really mean it.
Yes.
Like, I guess those are just the things I tell myself in my head.
Yeah. All of us are in these relationships. And so there are principles that apply to all. Like, a wife who is super grumpy is like an employee who's super grumpy. The boss is not happy about that. Nobody is, because everyone's miserable when people are grumpy and short-tempered. Or it's like just simply covering offenses, being joyful. And when you have a problem with a superior, and it happens that you can't cover in grace, approaching it appropriately and not in a naggy or rude way, privately, with honor, those kinds of things. We've talked about this before, but I just think it's one example. Let's the second half of this, we're talking about it to a large extent. Question 128 says, what are the sins of inferiors against their superiors? And it answers, the sins of inferiors against their superiors are all neglect of the duties required toward them. So neglecting the things that we just read, envying at, contempt of, and rebellion against their persons and places, in their lawful counsels, commands, and corrections, cursing, mocking, and all such refractory and scandalous carriage as proves a shame and dishonor to them and their government. What a great answer. There's so much there. We are so tempted in relationships where we are the lower in rank to envy and have contempt for our superiors. A wife is so tempted to do this. A man at his job is so tempted to do this. With our pastors, we are so tempted to do this. With our parents, we are so tempted to do this. With people who have achieved higher than us in the same thing, and like maybe you're in a company and you are a peer in terms of like the status, maybe the organizational chart, but there's a salesman who's way better than you, and he's sold 20 times more than you, and so people honor him and they don't honor you as much. And you're like, and he's in some sense superior to you because he's superior at it. And you're envious of him, and you can, and you have contempt for him, and you scoff at him, and you have ill thoughts towards him, and it's just envy. There are so many aspects that bleed into the way that we behave socially. That all that does, by the way, is make it more likely that you will fail and that he will succeed.
Yeah, we've talked about this in the past. Like, envy is not productive. It doesn't move anybody forward.
Nobody is drawn to help and support you when you're envious and contemptible and
you're
rude.
not actually spending your time and energy making yourself better in any sort of a way either. So, just like self-fulfilling in some ways.
Doom and gloom fussers often style themselves as prophets.
Yeah,
but they're prophets nobody listens to because often God is not the one who sent them to prophesy. Yeah. All they're doing is they're discontent. They're malcontents, they're bitter, they're fussers. And fussers particularly love to fuss about superiors. And so they fuss. They fuss. And a good superior, a good leader learns, I don't pay attention to that person. I disregard their fussing.
Yeah.
Because they're not reliable. They fuss about everything. It's a them problem, not a me problem, not a system problem, not the church problem. They're the problem. And they're the squeaky wheel. So you go give some WD-40 every once in a while, you correct them in it, but they're probably not going to listen because they're a fusser, and they already think that they should be in charge of everything. These are common sins in these kinds of relationships that we need to set a watch for. Anything else on the inferior to the superior? So summing it up, when you're in that position, try to think of ways that you can verbally give honor to your superior. That is true. It's not flattery. It's not like I'm brown-nosing to try to get ahead, but out of a genuine honor and love for them in their office. I'm going to honor you. What honorifics could you be using? Sir, ma'am, pastor so-and-so. There are titles of rank that go with many of these offices, and in your workplace, it might be different. You know, you might not call the CEO Bill. You might call him sir. And just see what happens in your life if you start to elevate social interactions from the heart with these kinds of honorifics that you really mean. All right. And then also don't walk in any of those sins. All right, let's talk the other direction, superiors to their inferiors, because almost all of us are going to be in relationships where we are the superior. What is required, question 129, of superiors towards their inferiors? It is required of superior, because everybody's thinking right now, but what about the boss? I'm supposed to call him Sir So-and-so and honor him and obey him and all this stuff. What about him? Doesn't he have anything to do? And it's like, his list is longer. Don't worry. It is required of superiors, according to their power, to that power they receive from God and that relation where they stand, meaning that all their authority actually comes from God. It's contingent authority. To do what? To love, pray for, and bless their inferiors, to instruct, counsel, and admonish them, countenancing, commending, and rewarding such as do well, and discountenancing, reproving and chastising such as do ill, protecting and providing for them all things necessary for soul and body, and by grave, wise, holy, and exemplary carriage to procure glory to God, honor to themselves, and so to preserve that authority which God hath put upon them. We could do like 50 episodes on this, I think. But just starting there with, we have a duty to love, pray for, and bless their inferiors.
To actually do that.
Do you do that as a mother?
Yes. Yes.
As a father?
Yes.
As a husband to his wife?
Yeah, like, yes. Especially thinking of as a mom, like it does genuinely mean to pray for them somehow.
Yep.
Systematically, actually, to do it. And to bless them. I mean, when my kids are little, even just saying like may the Lord make his face to shine upon you and bless you. When I'm putting my babies in the crib, that's really a normal thing because we actually mean doing it, guys.
Yeah, we bless
not
our
in your
kids all the
head,
time.
But physically doing it.
They have to hear you.
Yes.
Like when you're, and that's a great context for kids when you're praying for them at night or at the dinner table or wherever.
Yeah.
Make it a habit. Like fathers, make it a habit to, in family worship, pray for your kids and pray for your wife every time in a way that you're asking God to bless them. Lord, please bless my kids, give them good spouses. And to my kid, I mean, there's a danger of it becoming white noise to them over time, but better that, where they've heard it so many times that they almost don't appreciate it.
Yeah.
Rather than like, there was one time when my dad said, prayed for me.
One time when he did, yeah.
Okay. Then there's a twofold positive and negative relationship where he says that they have a duty to instruct, counsel, and admonishing them, and countenance, commend, or reward such as do well. So superiors, part of what it means to be a superior is that you have a duty of leadership, where you're actually trying to teach a person how to do something well or deploy them to do something well that you're in charge of and that you're giving them duties in. What are you laughing about, children?
Yes.
I knew it.
I'm just thinking of all the categories in my life. That's all.
I know. So we have this duty as superiors, and parenting is a great one where it's like, it's your job to teach and instruct and counsel them and then reward them that do well.
And not be so busy about your own goals in the household that you forget to actually do that part of it.
100%. You have to teach them. Don't do everything for them. Teach them. Reward those that do well. Admonishing them, which means exhorting them. I admonish you to go do this task. This is your task. I've given it to you. As a boss, are you instructing, counseling, admonishing, countenancing, commending, and rewarding such as do well? As a pastor, are you praying that God would bless your people and then instructing them in how to be a blessed people? Are you rewarding those who do well, honoring them? Hey, great job, so-and-so. I've seen just really good fruit in your family this year. Keep it up. You've been a great model to the church. Yep. Are you instructing and countenancing them? And sometimes we can, again, out of an egalitarian impulse, withhold honor from those children or people who are doing well because we know it's unequal. These two did really well today. These four did not. And so I'm going to withhold honor from the two because I don't want the others to feel bad that or I'm going to praise everybody. No. Reward those who do well. This is the carrot.
Yeah.
And there's the stick for those who do poorly. As a boss, are you rewarding those who do well?
Yeah.
Or are you, hey, great job, everybody, and we know 2 people on the team out of 10 did all the work? You have a duty to reward those who do well. It is your duty before God. At the end, when the question says that they have a duty, superiors have a duty to procure glory to God and honor to themselves, it's not so that they can be puffed up, but it's so to preserve the authority which God hath put upon them.
Yeah.
So that the office is honored and continues to have its authority. If a king gives away his authority, he's not just giving away his authority, he's giving away the authority of the throne for the next guy. And that is disagreeing with God and undoing the work that he's done in the world. Fathers, when you give away your authority and refuse to exercise it in your home, in a sense, you are trying to give away the authority of fathers generally to do this, and you're teaching your kids to give away that authority when they become fathers.
Yeah. And I think it's important to remember too, like I've told the kids sometimes, why do you have to discipline me? Why are you disciplining me? Because the Lord requires it of me. Like I don't have an option.
It's not a choice. And then the second half is, of course, discountenancing, reproving, chastising such as do ill. discipline. So there's this positive, there's the carrot, commending, instructing, and then there's the reproving, chastising. It's our job to do that. A boss who doesn't correct people in his authority is a bad boss. And he hates the whole company, and he wants everybody to lose their job.
Yeah, you can see this sometimes. I feel like I can see it sometimes in women's ministry where it's fun to host events, but the real leader also knows how to enter into the awkward conversation and make the correction call.
Yeah, that's right.
Do you know what I mean?
An older woman knows how to tell a younger woman, you need to love your husband, and you're not doing it right.
She knows how to both throw the tea party and do that.
That's right. And then lastly, the sins of superiors. I know we're going quickly through this, but go read it, go meditate upon it, look at the proof texts that come, because there's dozens. Question 130, what are the sins of superiors? Superiors, just like anybody else, sin. Well, the sins of superiors are, besides the neglect of the duties required of them, so not doing the things just listed, an inordinate seeking of themselves, their own glory, ease, profit, or pleasure. Let's just go through this a little bit at a time. An inordinate seeking of themselves, their own glory, ease, profit, or pleasure. Obviously, that's a huge temptation.
Well, you can see right there, pure time-wise, if you are spending your time seeking yourself, you will not have time to do the correction, to do the teaching, to do the admonishing, the encouraging. It just won't be there.
That's
All
right.
your time is spent on yourself.
That's right. This is the boss who pays his laborers slave wages and makes 50, 100, 300 times what his average worker makes.
Yeah.
Just because leftists complain about that in the world, it doesn't mean it's wrong. They're correct about that.
Yeah.
That is a shame when a
Especially
CEO
in Christian companies.
Right. When a CEO of a company, let's say that the CEO of the company makes $100 million a year and he's paying his workers like the average worker's making $22,000 a year.
Yeah.
Full-time employment. That's actually shameful. There's something wrong there. He is inordinately seeking his own profit and pleasure and ease. He's not seeking to use his office to bless his people. It's like the king that demands heavy taxes of all of his people, and they're suffering so that he can live in lavish luxury. Yep. Now, it's not to say that the king can't have more money than his subjects. It's not to say that the CEO makes more than...
Yeah.
Of course he does. And there is a higher elevation, and there is such thing as hierarchy. We're not egalitarians. We're not Marxist communists. But even in Marxism, Leninism, and in communism, hey, guess what they did? They still had an upper class superiors that lined their own pockets through corruption and had vacation homes in the hills of the Soviet Union while the workers in the workers' paradise were starving. It's just human nature. Men will sin as superiors and seek themselves. Okay. It is also one of their sins, commanding things unlawful or not in the power of inferiors to perform. If you tell them to sin, you're sinning, obviously. But also if you demand of them that which is not in their power, if you told your 8-year-old that he is responsible to run the entire home and keep it clean and then spank him when he doesn't, you're being wicked.
Yeah.
It's not in his power to do that.
One of the books we're reading in our women's group is Acedia, and something that he pointed out in there is that sloth is actually not living within the integrity of things. And that was one of the examples I talked about last night, was like, if you are demanding things of your children that are not within the reality God has built into their age, you as a parent are being slothful because they're not able to live towards their end means as a child, and your end means as a parent in authority.
So we're trying to call people up, call an inferior up to grow in their skills, and you're going to give them tasks they're not yet 100% ready for it. That's great. Give your children challenges that they don't yet know how to do so they can learn how to do it. But make sure you're not putting a yoke on them they cannot bear.
No.
Help with dinner. Dinner's now your responsibility every night, daughter. Well, if she's not ready for that, if you're robbing of her so that you can eat bonbons, then... And I don't think many people do that. That's an exaggeration.
Yeah.
Sometimes people do this with homeschooling where they end up turning the 13-year-old girls into the teachers.
It's true.
And neglect them and say, you're homeschooling all the young kids totally by yourself for 4 hours, 6 hours a day. Now, kids can do a lot of productive help in the home, but we need to make sure that we're not robbing them of a childhood, of their own growth and development for the sake of our ease or comfort. Okay, also it's a sin, common sin. Counseling, encouraging, or favoring them in that which is evil, or dissuading, discouraging, or discountenancing them in that which is good. So basically, if you're saying to an employee at a company, how could we steal the trade secrets from our rival company down the street? How could, if you are a parent teaching your kids how to take advantage of EBT and SNAP or government welfare.
So it's like lacking integrity in your authority, place of authority. Okay.
That's right. Teaching your people under your authority to sin.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a pastor teaching people in your congregation how to, embrace the, beauty of gay marriage, that's a failure of a superior. If you're a king teaching your generals how to wage unjust war,
mm-hmm.
it's countenancing them in sin or dissuading them from good. So if you have somebody that stands up and say, no, we shouldn't do that, and you put them to death.
Which I think for me, this means that the person in authority has to have time to be able to meditate on truth, goodness, and beauty to then know how to actually avoid those other things.
That's exactly right. Yes. It is a duty of a superior to know what is true and good and beautiful.
Yeah.
Correcting them, this is another sin, correcting them unduly. So like constant nitpicking would be an example of this. Careless exposing or leaving them to wrong temptation and danger. Giving your kid a smartphone.
Yeah.
When they're 12. You're carelessly exposing them to wrong temptation and danger. This would be a husband who is like, yeah, wife, go downtown inner city by yourself. Go walk around unarmed and you're good. I know there's a bunch of thugs down there that love to do rape and rob and do all their stuff, but you're fine. Carelessly exposing them or exposing them to temptation. One of the ways we do this is we provoke people to wrath, like a husband who never prays for his wife, a husband who doesn't provide well for his wife. He is carelessly exposing her to the temptation of dishonoring him.
Yeah. That's very real. You have to realize that's a reality as an authority figure.
Yep. And it says provoking them to wrath is the next one, or in any way dishonoring themselves or lessening their authority by an unjust, indiscreet, rigorous, or remiss behavior. So again, you are lessening the authority of your office sinfully. As a superior, you're sinning.
Mm-hmm.
If you are making a mockery of the office of boss or father or pastor or king or ruler or congressman or president or mother, you are not just reducing yourself, you're reducing the office itself. And that's a sin.
Mm-hmm. I just thought of a really good book on this topic, actually, that I hadn't thought of for years, and it's The Mother at Home by John Cabot. I think he was like a reverend of some sort. It was very good. Just like the authority of mothers in the home. Read it. It's good.
There you go. That's very, very good, babe. No, that sounds good. So what is it called again?
I think it's just called Mother at Home.
Mother at Home.
Mother at Home.
Awesome. Yeah, this is such a neglected. Is it an old book?
It's older.
Okay.
Yes. I don't think it's like as old as Googe per se, but it's definitely, I would say, at least 100 years old.
That makes sense because that's not something that people would talk about today.
Yeah.
A lot of this sounds so foreign to us, this whole conversation, again, because we live in an egalitarian age. Mm-hmm. And everyone's like, we're all equals, we're all peers. No, we're not.
Yeah.
God said we're not. And in fact, you will sin if you think we are.
Yeah.
And you will also, this wasn't just a social episode, I know, but a lot of this is like navigating social life is navigating relationships. But there is an outward social element of all of this of like, if you become really good at navigating it, at recognizing what kind of relationship you are in to somebody and operating by the rules that God made for that relationship, you will do well.
Yeah. We've been talking about this a lot with just different events within our church life of like etiquette is there as a good boundary for everybody involved. It's a good gift from the Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so if you'll do these things, you'll find yourself elevated at work. Mm-hmm. You will find your employees respect you. You will find that your boss will promote you. Mm-hmm. You will find that your social world is lubricated, like it flows better. You'll find that your relationship to your children is better. Your relationship to your parents is better. And that's just you doing it. Mm-hmm. Imagine if everyone was doing it. Mm-hmm. Then all of a sudden, we would be bearing good fruit in all these relationships, better fruit than we are when we neglect them. So that's why we talk about them. That's why it's important. If you guys have questions, I know we said a lot. I want to highlight that. Send us a text button again. Send us your questions on this, and we'll try to take them up in a future Q&A episode. But we are out of time for this episode. So we'll wrap it up there and just, again, encourage you to check out our upcoming conference, newchristendompress.com/2026. You'll find the details and tickets. Get a family pass. Come join us in Ogden. And we're going to have a great time. Really looking forward to being with everybody, singing psalms, hearing from good speakers, and getting to know everybody. We've got more like hanging out things going on this time than ever before. And just, we're really looking forward to it. Hope to see you guys at the concert as well, and that I can share some new music with you, and many, many other, hopefully, glorious and enjoyable things. So thanks for listening, guys. We appreciate it. Make sure that you check out a great Christian business sponsors that help support this show and this episode, and support their companies and businesses as well. But until next time, God bless you, and we'll catch you on Bright Hearth.